My name is Josh Marquez, and I've been sober for 9 years now. My childhood was very interesting. I grew up in Whittier, California. Parents were divorced by the time I was 11. Found out that I had a different dad. I was a biological father by the time I was 13. It wasn't all that bad until I think after I hit my 13th birthday. We moved to a new town. I was trying to figure out who I was in life and started, failing at classes and was held back. Things started to kind of take a turn for the worse where I was getting all Fs and hanging out with the wrong crowd, trying to, like I said, figure out who I was and where I fit in life. And I think just progressively started getting worse, hanging out with guys that were not that great, and first started smoking cigarette butts that I find on the street, and kind of progressively got worse to smoking marijuana, and then I made my way up to alcohol, and from 6th grade on it just kind of started getting worse. And as I hit 18, I think it just completely spiraled out of control. I started seeing a therapist for anxiety and depression, and I think that situation made things worse because they had prescribed me Xanax and Klonopin and the other stuff, and once I didn't have those medications, my anxiety would get worse, so then I'd self-medicate, and that kind of led to benzodiazepines and drinking at the same time. Prior to my 18th birthday and being 17 years old, I actually had been sexually molested when I was younger, and I think that spiraled out of control, and with dealing with guilt and shame and all of that stuff that kind of went with that. Over time, just dealing with that, not processing it, not working on it, up until my early 20s was just a party. It was a party, and it was going out constantly, and hooking up with girls, and just getting into trouble, fights, and going to bars, and just anything and everything you can get your hands on and do. I did it up until I was in my mid-20s, when I decided I needed to get help. I think my drug of choice was I heavily relied on prescription painkillers and benzodiazepines. That was what, and mixing the drinking in there as well, but I think it was mostly the pills that did it. One of the things that took me to the end, I think, was when I was taking oxycodone, or what they call Roxys or Blues. I was taking about 8 to 10 a day. My addiction had gotten so bad in 2011, and I was mixing Xanax and drinking with it, on top of taking methadone pills. Things started really spiraling out of control. I was actually at a movie theater with my wife watching the movie Magic Mike, of all movies, and we were watching it, and next thing you know, I started blacking out and sweating profusely, and and I reached over to my wife and said, something's wrong. I don't feel well, and she saw. I think that was at the time I was extremely pale and sweating and blacking out. Realized that at the time I was overdosing, and I had to run downstairs and go to the bathroom, and I felt like I was going to die at that moment, and I was surprised I didn't pass out. So my wife comes down to get me and checking on me. How are you doing? I waited in the bathroom for about 15 minutes, and I realized I started feeling a lot better. And next thing you know, I take another oxycodone pill. So that's when I knew that the disease was extremely scary, and I was not in control of what I was doing. So I think the time that was the last straw that broke the camel's back was prior to me getting clean and sober. I had went to a friend's house, a party with a friend of mine, and I had drank so much liquor and taken so many pills that I came back to the house where my wife saw me walk in, and she's like, "What is going on with you?" And I said I was completely fine. What do you mean? What's going on with me? And she said, you look like you're purple because you're so drunk, and you look like, I don't know what to do, what's going on. And I started throwing up. And it got so bad, I didn't know it at the time that, the police and the paramedics had come out, and I was on the verge of death, because I had alcohol poisoning, and was taken to, the hospital, and how embarrassing was that for myself? And I think it just got to that point in time where I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to end up dying. Started seeking treatment through, looking online and trying to find places with my budget. I didn't have insurance, or I didn't have any type of money. My family, I don't come from money at all, so I had to figure it out. And there were a couple times that I did try to get sober. I genuinely tried, and it was getting off of the benzos, I think, and it was Xanax and Klonopin. That was the hardest thing for me to get off of and stay off of, because I think I was so physically dependent on it, and the post-acute withdrawals that come with all of that are just horrible. So I think that was the hardest thing. But the last time was October 23rd, like I said, of 2012. Where I went into Broadway Treatment Center, and it definitely changed my life. So I think what helped me the most was the therapeutic aspect. And there was a good friend of mine. His name is Richie Cole, and he's a good friend now. At the time, he was my therapist, and I think the one thing he told me that stuck out to me is, he said, everyone is born a winner. We're all born winners, and it's just up to us to believe that we are winners. And I think there was a lot of things that he said to me that really stuck out, and made me realize that I'm not just an addict, or I'm not just a druggie, or I'm not just some punk off the street. I'm actually a person, and I have a heart, and there's a lot of people that care for me and want to see me succeed. And I think with the therapeutic aspect of things, and the therapy and working on the underlying issues of trauma, and what I went through as a kid, and parents divorcing, and biological father not being there, and being molested, and kind of going through all that process, working on that was extremely helpful for me, and really helped me out a lot. What I'm most proud of is being a good father. I think being there for my girls, doing the work that I've done in the field, and coming from an authentic place, and really seeing the clients. I've been working in this field for a long time. My first get well job was working in treatment, working in the treatment field. Seeing that light bulb moment come on that I think I had, and seeing it in someone else was amazing. And I think with me starting my company called Compassion Recovery, was compassion is about being there for people who don't have that type of money, who don't maybe don't have the insurance side of things, or don't have the money. It's accepting everyone for who they are. And I always told myself when I was younger, if I ever were to start a treatment center, I'd always give back to people who are less fortunate and who didn't have the money to get help. And I think that's what I've built this company on. And I'm just excited where I am in my life, because I want to be able to lead by example for my children and my daughters, to show them that you can come from having really nothing, and come from a broken family, and being here now and showing them what success, or my idea of success, looks like. So it's a beautiful thing when you get clean and sober. Your life changes completely, and while you're in it, and while you're stuck in it, it feels like you're dying, and that there's no hope, but there is hope. Take me for example. I'm living proof. My advice I would give to someone who's starting recovery is don't give up. Like I said, it may feel like you don't have any hope, or that there is no one there, and there are people there. There are people. There's NA, AA, whatever it is. Reach out to people, and my advice is never stay stagnant. Always continue working on yourself. Keep fighting, because there is hope. Keep doing the deal. That's what helped me, and I wish I had someone telling me when I was younger that there was hope. But I'm glad that I went the route I did and got the help that I did, because man, I'm happy to be in the place I am right now. I feel so much love and gratitude. So you can do it. Okay.